Hello, everyone. Today, we will continue looking at the games by the best of the best, Magnus Carlsen. And we're going to look at the game he played a couple of months ago against the best player from Poland, Jan-Krzysztof Duda. Duda is a top 20 player in the world. He's also a giant of online chess. He recently defeated Fabiano Caruana in the match during the Speed Chess Championship, and he is the rising star of chess. Let's take a look at the game. Magnus with the white pieces. We have d4, d5, c4, c6, the Slav defense, and Magnus plays a move which looks a little bit unusual. He plays pawn e3. The reason why e3 looks a little bit unusual is it blocks the bishop from coming out. It looks fairly passive. But Magnus has certain ideas. Now, black develops his knight, knight f6. Magnus develops his knight, knight c3, e6. Black builds a solid pawn chain. And now Magnus plays b3. The point is this bishop cannot come this way, so he is going to fianchetto it. And also if black ever takes, we can retake with a pawn, and we maintain our beautiful center. Duda needs to do something with his bishop. So b6, put his bishop on b7, and eventually prepare c5. They both fianchetto their bishops, bishop b2, bishop b7. Magnus develops his other bishop, bishop d3. Duda continues to develop his pieces, knight d7, makes the most sense. And Magnus develops his knight to a slightly unusual square. He goes knight e2 instead of the more common and the more natural knight f3. We will see why in a second. Duda develops his bishop, bishop d6. Magnus castles. Duda castles. And Magnus plays knight g3. And now we will see the point behind this. The fact that this knight is here instead of here. So first, if we ever play e4, we're supporting this square a lot more times. Second, if this pawn ever disappears, our knight will have a chance to go to f5, where he will be a beautiful, beautiful piece. In the words of Ben Feingold or Vasilius Katronius, knight f5, hidden g7. Okay, let's see where this takes us. Duda continues with his plan, challenging the center with c5, and now Magnus takes. Okay, black can take back in three different ways. If he takes with a pawn, well, now our knight gets to this beautiful square, hitting this bishop, but also pointing at the king. And if black tries to kick this knight, it will create weaknesses. If black takes with the bishop, well, we will just take this bishop. And then he has nothing to show for this, and we have the two bishops, which is nice. Finally, if he takes with a knight, let's say knight takes. Now, we will take back. If he takes with a pawn, once again, our knight gets this beautiful square, and the bishop is blocked. And if he takes with a bishop, bishop d5, we can take this way, and we open both of our bishops. As we saw in some of the games which I showed on this channel, having two bishops like this on the open board is very, very, very good. And the logic is, let's say my black takes this pawn with the knight, we can throw in queen g4. Our bishops are still good. If he stops us, we can just drop our bishop back. Our bishops are still good. Our queen is very good. Our knight is ready to jump in here. Our rook is getting ready to go on the same line as the queen. Our second rook will go here. Now, let's see what happened. Let's see what happened in the actual game. Um, so Duda decided not to take this pawn. Instead, he takes here. And his logic is if Magnus plays the most natural move, takes back, Duda will take with the knight. And the problem for white is this pawn is isolated. Black has a beautiful, beautiful knight blocking this pawn. Black bishops are now good. White bishop is blocked by this pawn. And this knight can sometimes head over here, similar to white's ideas of knight f5. Okay, this is why Magnus plays an interesting move instead. He plays knight e4, attacking this bishop, but it gives Duda a chance to win a pawn. He takes the knight first. After this, Magnus takes back, knight g3, and now Duda wins a pawn taken here. Let me just go back because I need to answer one more puzzle question. Before knight e4, let's really quickly look at pawn takes e6. Because at first it looks like it's a good move, attacking the knight, attacking the pawn, but black simply wins a piece. So let's go back to the actual game. After knight e4, Duda takes, Magnus takes back, and now Duda takes on e3. And the logic is, if Magnus takes back, Duda will take this pawn, and black is simply up a pawn. So Magnus takes on e6, but Duda takes on f2 with check. Magnus takes back, rook takes f2, and now Duda takes here. At first glance, black is up a pawn, but it's not enough to be up material. You need to look at piece activity, you need to look at king safety, all those things are important. And Magnus has these two beautiful bishops shooting through the board. Black does not have the two bishops. This pawn is a little bit weak, and Magnus's pieces are all very, very, very active. And Magnus right away plays queen e2, putting pressure on this pawn, and also allowing for his rook to come into the game. After queen e2, black plays knight c5, defend this pawn, but also black would love to trade. When you're up, you want to trade, especially when you're being attacked, and white has this beautiful bishop. So Magnus does not rush. He has a long-term advantage. He does not have anything specific right now, so he simply drops his bishop out of the range of the knight, and the bishop is a long-range piece, so he is still attacking. Let's see what happened. Duda attacks the queen, bishop a6. Magnus drops the queen back, and Magnus has a threat. He has had this threat since he moved the bishop. He is pressuring this pawn, the knight defends this pawn, so Magnus wants to play b4, kick this knight, and pick this pawn up. So Duda needs to do something about that, so he brings his queen to e8. And now he might be able to bring in his rook. So, queen e8, Magnus finishes his development. All his pieces are playing chess. He has good bishops, he has good rooks, he has a good queen, and he has a pretty good knight. And a lot of the pieces are pointing close to the king. So that's important. Black would love to trade rooks. The problem is his queen is busy over here. So if he tries to play rook d8, we're going to trade, and then we will kick this knight, and then we will pick up this pawn. So to show you on the board, we kick, and then this is ours. Okay. Duda brings the rook to c8. Maybe he'll be able to cause trouble. And now Magnus kicks the knight b4. Okay. If the knight goes to d7, a move like bishop a4 could be a little bit annoying. And if black plays b5, he blocks his bishop. So that's not very fun. So Duda drops the knight to b7. And now this is very instructive. Magnus wants to begin his attack. He looks at the black position and says, which piece in the black position plays the most important role in protecting the king? It is this knight. If we get rid of this knight, life is going to be a lot easier. And this is important. When you attack, try to get rid of your opponent's best defender. So Magnus simply offers a trade, knight e4. Okay, black avoided it. Why did he avoid the trade? Well, if he takes, we'll take back with the queen, and we see the problem. And if black plays something like g6, well, now this diagonal is open, so we can shift to e5. And this is going to be then. If black plays something like queen g6, we can do the same thing. Queen e5, revealing the bishop. At first, it looks like black can take, but the promise after takes might means material. This cannot be taken because this is checkmate. So takes. And otherwise, white is simply threatening to bring his rooks and crash through. So let's go back. Black understandably does not take. Instead, he plays knight c5, which looks like a good move. It avoids the trade. It hits the pawn. This looks like a pretty good knight, but it does take this knight away from the king side. And now Magnus takes. Rook takes f8. Duda takes back with the queen, putting even more pressure on the pawn. Queen takes f8. And now, since we traded, this bishop over here is free. So Magnus, again, he believes he has a long-term advantage. He does not rush. His bishops are still there. His knight is still good. His queen can still come. And several of the black pieces are not doing a very good job protecting the king. We have threats of something like knight g5 happening. We can also sometimes bring our knight around this way. So Duda decided to try to win a pawn. He plays queen takes. E4. But now Magnus has a really, really, really pretty move. And this is why he's Magnus Carlsen. In every position, you need to look at forcing moves. And a lot of you probably spotted the most forcing move in the position, which is knight f6. But knight f6 looks crazy. To play knight f6, you really need to calculate. And Magnus calculates, and he spots that it's a really good move. It's a check. If this is taken, we have this 4. And we're simply winning. In the game, he did not take. In the game, he played king h8. But now queen takes pawn anyway. The knight is also being attacked. The rook is being attacked. Black, well, he can play here, but this is not going to be very good. Because we're just going to take. And he will not be able to take because we checkmate. Let's look on the board. And black cannot take because it's game over. We can also checkmate here if you prefer. So he needs to save the rook. He also needs to stay on this line because otherwise back rank checkmate. So Duda saves the rook. Magnus simply picks up the knight, and here Duda actually resigns. Question is, why does he resign? Well, if he tries one of the obvious moves, pawn takes knight, we simply checkmate on the diagonals. And the more interesting move, queen takes bishop. I'm going to pause and let you find the winning move. And there are two winning moves. One, we can play queen e4. The point is with range checkmate, so black doesn't have time to take. And if he blocks us here, now we play queen e7, and we have a checkmate over here. Another good move here is queen h5. The logic here is with threatening mate, and this is covered by both of those pieces. And if black does that, once again we have queen g6, and once again we are threatening checkmate. It was a very, very nice game by Magnus. One of the things that I want you to learn from this game, it's not important. Well, it is important who has more material, but there are other things like king safety, like piece activity, which are very important. Another very important idea is the importance of the two bishops, especially two bishops on the open board. Once Magnus got that advantage, he did not let go of it, and he even spent several moves simply dropping his bishops back to make sure they stay alive. It was a very nice game by Magnus. I hope you enjoyed it. Please like, please subscribe, and more exciting material will appear shortly. Thank you.